sort of made this video under the assumption that everybody watching it is already aware of what the stroy spring summer 2020, like what the issue was with it. So if you haven't heard about it, basically stroy in their spring summer 2020 collection, they staged it in a school hallway, and they had models walk down the runway in hoodies they had the names of schools where school shootings happened, like Columbine, Sandy Hook, all those places, and they had bullet holes in the sweatshirts. And so you can imagine the backlash that it got. They got picked up by like pretty much every mainstream media, and they basically got torn a new one. So that's what I'm addressing in this video. Please, for the love of God, watch the whole video before you decide to comment. But please do comment. Let me know what you think. Appreciate it.
What's going on, y'all? It's Michael. I'm about a month late on making this video, but there's a couple reasons for that. For one, I was super hesitant to make this video in the first place because I wasn't really sure I wanted to get all the backlash that would most likely come with making this video. And for two, this is probably the third time that I've shot this video. So I'm trying to get this right, trying to get my words straight. If you haven't already, go check out the Fashion Archives video and also Alex Avalos' video. Those are the homies. They both made valid points in their videos too, so definitely go check those out. I guess I'm gonna give a couple disclaimers before I start. So the purpose of this video isn't really to tell anybody of a different opinion that they're wrong, as much as it is to sort of just redirect their energy to something more productive maybe, and also zoom out in the perspective a bit and maybe give a little bit more context to the situation. So yeah, first disclaimer, I'm not fucking making this video for attention. I don't want to be a YouTuber. I really just started making videos to meet people with similar interests because I live in the middle of nowhere in Kentucky. Nobody here gives a shit about fashion. So yeah, I've met quite a few people, so I think I'm doing pretty good there, but in the long run, I don't want to be a fucking YouTuber. If anything, this will get my face out there and possibly land me a job. If I wanted attention, this isn't gonna get a lot of clicks in the first place. There's plenty of things that I could get more attention making videos on.
I forgot to finish this thought in this recording, but if I am going to build a platform on this website, I don't want it to be done by just providing aesthetic stuff, because I'm a very passionate person, so I feel like I'd be painting myself in a corner if I wasn't expressing my thoughts on stuff that I feel strongly about. So hopefully y'all respect that thought process.
Two, I'm not a stroy fanboy. I don't own a single piece by them. I respect what they do, but at the end of the day, it's not really my style. Number three, I'm not here to tell people what they should and shouldn't be offended by. Like, these are blatantly triggering images. Like, it's repulsive shit. I was at school in Murray, less than 20 minutes away from the Marshall County school shooting whenever that happened. I had friends that graduated from there. I've seen how the shit affects communities. I'm not here to tell people that they should or shouldn't be offended by what they see from Vogue runway screenshots. And number four, this is the biggest thing. I want y'all to keep this in mind the whole fucking video. We're all on the same goddamn side. Nobody wants this shit to be happening. School shootings are fucked. Hot fucking take of the day. So getting into it, I just want to say that art without context is literally just sensory stimulation. You can't reduce somebody's work of art down to what you see without the context that is meant to come with it. These guys aren't idiots. Anybody that is in a position to do this as a passion and not just some bullshit corporate person deciding to venture into fashion is aware that this is going to cause some backlash and really stir up a conversation, which I feel like was one of the main objectives of this collection in the first place. As a matter of fact, this show seems to have achieved it intended to do in the first place, that being get people to fucking talk about this shit. Not that people aren't already, but it's coming at it from a different angle than what has previously been attempted. So to start with their show notes, in the first line it talks about irony, specifically the irony of dying violently in a place you consider to be a safe, controlled environment like school. I'm gonna connect that to a lot of points that I make in this video. The first being, how fucking ironic is it that so many are outraged at those on the same side as them, when so few are actually outraged at the people in office that are supposed to be making the changes that we want to see.
Another layer of irony is the fact that this story was picked up by Fox News, a news network that is known to be funded by conservatives in order to basically campaign for them and what they stand for. They pump money into this news network. I don't know how many people who watch me aren't from the US, but conservatives are against strict gun laws, so news networks like Fox keep them in office. So there seems to be a conflict of interest on whether or not they actually want school shootings to stop, or they want to pad their pockets with the dollars of the people that are allowing school shootings to continue happening.
The next thing that they talk about in the show notes, I'm not going down a bulleted list or anything. I don't even have them pulled up on my phone, but I'm just going to address the name of the collection. The collection was called Samsara.
I'm not a Buddhist, so my knowledge of Samsara is limited to the book Siddhartha, the show notes, and a light amount of research. But from what I know, samsara is basically the foolish cycles that we give into on a daily basis that we find ourselves stuck in our daily lives. This can be destructive habits like playing video games when you need to do homework, just shit like that, eating junk food rather than eating healthy. And to transcend samsara and reach nirvana, you have to break these cycles. Relating that to the political standpoint of this collection is the main reason that people feel the need to have AR-15s and other automatic weapons is because they like to shoot them at the gun range. That's literally the only reason that people can come up with. I've never seen any shootings be stopped by someone concealed carrying an assault rifle. So that samsara is giving into whatever pleasure you get from shooting a big gun, whoop-de-fucking-do, at the expense of the lives of our future and children in general, getting mowed down in schools as they're still developing. Pretty fucked up. But when put in simpler terms, that's what samsara is. And all of this is defended on the basis of a piece of writing that was written in
1789.
Back when we loaded guns by the shot with gunpowder and individual bullets.
So the next point I want to get into is that I'm going to build upon the idea that people are reacting off of just looking at Vogue Runway screenshots. This isn't just about fucking clothes, it's a form of art. And 99% of art has some sort of socio-political commentary. This isn't a new thing, this is just an example of the use of shock value. I know it's idealistic to assume that everybody seeing these images is just going to automatically take into account like all the context that goes into it. But I think it's also super shitty to just, I don't know. People like to tear down the fashion industry for being frivolous and just reducing it down to specifically the clothes, but like I've said in previous videos, this shit is not about clothes. Maybe I'm thinking of this in a utopian way, but I don't know. I think people jumping to conclusions is very unfair for a creative industry, and in this case, it is all for naught, unnecessary, preaching to the choir, fucking you name it. But like I said before, hopefully some of the money made goes towards organizations like Sandy Hook Promise, who made that video. Stirring up a conversation as riled up as this one has been, I think it got not blown out of proportion per se, but definitely taken in the wrong direction and ran with. So you can write this off as an attempt at being edgy for monetary gain, but reducing it to that level is doing the same to your argument. I highly doubt these hoodies are going to go into production. They said that they weren't, but they're thinking about doing it. If they do go into production and all proceeds don't go to organizations that spread awareness for putting people in office to make the change, then I'll eat my fucking words and leave this video up. I'm wrong. But if not, then they're just art pieces. They're not fucking going into stores like Urban Outfitters or who the fuck else trying to make a quick buck off of it. We've tried so many other fucking things to open the eyes of lawmakers. Who the fuck are we to get mad at somebody making an attempt coming at it from a different angle?
One could argue that that statement is not even true. I used the same example later in the video, but that Sandy Hook Promise video is the same shock value angle that this show takes, yet it was received completely differently by the public. So something to think about.
Like I said before, we're all on the same fucking side. The designers at Stroy, me, you. None of us want to see kids get shot in schools. So I'm failing to see why we are so outraged at somebody who is trying to stir conversation about the subject. And you can sit there and act like this is just preaching to the choir, like people are already talking about this shit. But I just want to say, Fox News picked this shit up. A fucking network that is heavily funded by the conservative party, the people who are trying to keep gun laws from passing. So to sit here and say that it doesn't weed out anything or demonstrate any forms of irony on a social scale is pretty fucking reductive, because that shit right there is fucked up. Like, how the fuck can you publish this story when you're letting this shit continue to fucking happen?
Okay, so I'm reading this article after the fact, and look at this bullshit. A New York-based fashion designer is facing major backlash after releasing a new line of hoodies inspired by a series of mass school shootings. So, not only are they huge fucking hypocrites, but they can't even get their fucking facts straight. So, fuck Fox News.
But going back to these designers just not being fucking idiots, a lot of people seem to be inclined to think that you can just put on a show if you have 10,000 plus followers or whatever. But what people don't see is the amounts of work that goes into these shows. Work and fucking money. This industry is a labor of love. People literally dedicate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to this shit just to make shit like this happen. Independent designers, at least. I'm not speaking for these big houses like Gucci and Balenciaga. Those are big teams. Stroy, not a big fucking team. And yeah, these guys have money, but at the end of the day, like, the amount of work that goes into this isn't pulling in as much revenue as the general populace seems to think. Because think about it, how many fucking people would honestly pay the prices that it would cost to buy these hoodies? Like, nobody would wear these. They're literally art pieces. They're not gonna go into production. Putting that out there right now, especially after all this shit, they wouldn't fucking sell. This industry being a labor of love, I fucking hate to see it reduced down to people who are generally uninterested in fashion, seeing Vogue runway screenshots, and without getting any further context or zooming out at all, decide to join the White Knight Army in the comments section of their Instagram. And I know there were parents of Sandy Hook victims in there. Like I said before, I'm not trying to tell people not to be offended, but these people are on the same side as you. This is not a fucking edgy cash grab. This is not Urban fucking Outfitters. This is a artistic design house. You don't see Urban Outfitters putting on a fucking runway show at New York Fashion Week. How can we fucking praise the Sandy Hook Promise video? If you're not familiar with it, it's this video of a bunch of kids with their school supplies using them in the event of a school shooting. And it got incredible feedback. How the fuck can we praise that and then tear down the exact same fucking message?
Presented through a different medium.
Just because it's in a form of art that is not generally recognized as a form of art. So if you want to reduce this down to invalidity, then you're doing the same fucking thing to your argument. And if you think that they could have gone about this differently, I'm not gonna fucking argue with you about that shit. But don't be a fucking hypocrite. Be the fucking change that you want to see. If you are someone who is just sitting at home twiddling your fucking thumbs on election day, then you have absolutely no fucking right to criticize them for trying to make a statement. I'm not asking anybody to fucking donate to an organization or any shit like that. I don't have any fucking money either. But the least that you can fucking do to make a change is educate yourself on who is running for office and actually contribute to them getting put into that office to make the fucking change that you seem to be so desperate for. So like I said, fucking redirect that energy into something fucking productive rather than trying to tear apart people who are on the same side as you. In regards to them bringing up this collection being torn down so bad because of their race, I'm a straight white male. I'm about as privileged as it gets. I have no place to comment on the validity of that statement. But I will say 99% of the people that are seeing this collection and shitting on it, have no fucking clue who the designers are, point blank. I'm not trying to tear them down at all, but just being realistic, these people aren't opening Beastroy's Instagram and seeing Brick Owen's face in the feed. So throwing that out there. I know nearly none of you all agreed with me coming into this video, but hopefully I have changed your perspective at least a little bit. But if not, I hope you'll respect my standpoint. I'm just trying to put a positive spin on things here. I think that's about it. Hopefully you waited until now to comment on the video, because I'm sure I threw in some clips here while I was editing to complete some statements. Thanks for watching, have a good day, and fucking vote.